Okay, can you guys see the screen okay that I'm sharing?
Yep.
Nice. Sounds good. So yeah, hey everyone. I know it's been a little while since our last session. I hope you still at least remember some of the things we took away from that goal setting session. Oh, that must have been almost a month ago now, a couple weeks. But today we're going to be talking about practice and more specifically practicing with intention. And I know you guys just started your season. There's a tournament coming up soon, so hopefully you guys can take. I think there's a practice actually today, right? On Mondays. So I hope you guys can take something away and use that in your next practice session. Let's go ahead and get started. So recap and introduction. Like I mentioned, it's been a while since our last session. Does anyone remember anything about their goal setting session 3 weeks ago now? How do we feel about the SMART goals that we ended off with at the end? And are there any questions that you're still unsure about from what we covered before?
I would love to hear some of the goals.
Please pardon the interruption, but staff and students, we have Opa Greek food in the cantina today. Come on down for
want to hear some of the
Opa
goals?
Greek. It's chicken souvlaki, rice, and
I
peanut.
wanted to get better at comboing and just learning all of Kirby's combos.
Excellent.
Nice. And I'm sure you guys have had practice sessions or like even a match between today and the last time I spoke to you guys. So I guess what I'm looking for is how did you guys feel like you were able to pursue your goal or work towards your goals when you play or when you've practiced?
What was your goal?
My goal was to start teching.
That is true. I remember it.
Yeah.
I read it. Okay. When they hit the ground, they can flip back up.
Oh,
Yeah.
My goal was to learn more matchups and like get better at fighting people specifically in the esports.
Ah.
Okay.
Specific is good if you remember something with the goal setting.
Yep.
Yeah.
I believe that my goal was that I want to stop trying to accidentally self-destruct myself every time I play.
That is true. I remember that one too.
Good goal.
Good.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it sounds like you guys have all like given it a good shot and tried to put what you said in the last session into your practice and when you've played. So that's a great start. And what we'll cover today is very much related to the goals you set because in terms of practicing, it is basically the process of trying to reach our goal in more of a structured way. Because if we just try to reach our goal in matches, there's a lot of pressure, there's a lot of external influence. We can't really control everything, but practice is much more of a controlled environment where we can build the groundwork that helps us reach that goal. And to that end, I want to ask a quick question for you guys is to think about the last practice session you had. And I want you guys to just maybe close your eyes and think about some of the things that happened. How did you feel about the practice, maybe before and during, and also after? Just take a minute to think about what happened. Like, how did you feel? Is what I'm looking for. Okay, I think that's good. Does anyone want to quickly share how they felt about their last practice session or tell me what happened?
Go ahead.
I remember feeling frustrated because Kirby doesn't really, I don't want to say para, but like he doesn't really counter any like many characters that well.
Yeah.
And it just kind of feels a little frustrating sometimes.
Nice. So do you remember if there was a specific matchup you played that was the most frustrating, or you noticed like a certain interaction that made you feel that way the most?
Playing against Jackson when he's playing Samus is always he just has me perfectly.
Nice.
Michael, when they use charge shot, if you just like use your neutral key, you can eat the charge shot and like heal from it.
What?
Like it's actually a pretty good matchup for Kirby, to be honest. You can like just like heal from the charge shot. Not their explosives too much, but they're definitely the charge shots and such.
All right, thank you.
You had faith on your practice.
During 2v2s last Thursday, it was Thursday. I remember being like overwhelmed by everything that was happening because there was so much happening. I couldn't use my menu for Euro and I couldn't do stuff like that. It was pretty bad. But I eventually started air dodging to get out of situations, which is what I tried practicing earlier. So it worked out.
You've been there, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. I remember my last practicing with Ethan. He was trying to get back into a character he used to main to be his main, but I just had a blast playing other characters with him.
Yeah. Nice.
It's overall fun.
It's great. Yeah. So I mean, practice can be a lot of things for a lot of different people, right? Like sometimes it can be fun, it can be frustrating, or you can think about or remember a very specific interaction between a game you played. I'm going to quickly move on and talk about how we can look ahead and practice with intention. So, in accordance to the goals that we set the last session, I want you guys to think about how we can approach practices with a bit more intention and focus on really making some tangible progress towards reaching your goals. So I think a mindset that a lot of our coaches use is stacking good days. So having practices that build positive habits one day at a time, and not looking at mistakes or losses or misplays as our failures, but actually chances for us to look at and get better and figure out how we can do better next time if we were to play the same matchup or if we were to execute that same combo. And this is especially important with Smash because it is quite a competitive game and there's lots of complexity. I'm really bad at the game, but I know that there's a lot of complexity and there's so many things that each character can do. So it's really easy for us to look at practice and matches that can take us to really high pressure situations and struggles, and this can often lead to ineffective practice habits, and we can oftentimes fixate on whether or not we ended up with the win instead of what we can take away from wins or losses. And the process of improvement is taking away. So by practicing a bit better and more effectively, it gives us the chance to learn and grow in a more structured way, so we can then translate our performance when it comes to matches. So a big part of practice is to simulate how we would play our matches. So trying our best to make sure that the conditions when we practice is the same as when you were to play a match or a game. So this can include the setup, if there's a crowd or if you feel some pressure, find maybe a way to simulate that, and also if you do warm-up routines, the time of day, etc. Basically just making sure to minimize the difference between practices and matches so that you feel like you're actually making an impact, like you're not just separating practice as practice and games are games. Trying to bridge the gap between the two can make sure that we can translate how well we play the things we work on in practice to game day. And
Anybody tell you?
forward, I'll play a quick video. This is Allen Iverson. I think it's too old of a reference, but it's a very good video of a basketball athlete talking about practice. I'm just gonna play it for you guys real quick.
That I miss practice. If a coach say I miss
Can you guys
practice,
hear the video?
and y'all hear it, then that's that. I mean, I might have missed one practice this year, but if somebody say he doesn't come to practice, it can be one practice out of all the practices this year. That's enough. If I can't practice, I can't practice, man. If I'm hurt, I'm hurt. I mean, simple as that. It ain't about that.
This message is for all Indigenous
At
grade
all, you know what I'm saying? I mean,
Please come on to
but
B233
it's easy to
and meet
talk
your
about. It's easy to sum it up. when you just talk about practice. We sitting here, I'm supposed to be the franchise player, and we in here talking about practice. I mean, listen, we talking about practice. Not a game, not a game, not a game. We talking about practice. Not a game. Not the game that I go out there and die for and play every game like it's my last. Not the game. We talking about practice, man. I mean, how silly is that, man? We're talking about practice. I know I'm supposed to be there. I know I'm supposed to lead by example. I know that. And I'm not shoving it aside, you know, like it don't mean anything. I know it's important. I do. I honestly do. But we talking about practice, man. What are we talking about? Practice? We talking about practice, man. We talking about practice. We talking about practice. We ain't talking about the game. We talking about practice, man.
Okay, yeah, so that's just a quick video of an athlete talking about practice. What do you guys think about that?
Wait, talking about the game. Practice.
I think it might have been talking about practice.
It might have been talking about practice.
Just a hunch, though. I think it's about practice.
It's definitely a possibility.
Maybe about practice.
Definitely about practice.
You have to expect it.
It's that paragraph.
Oh, let's bring it back together. Anybody have some insights to share what they got from that?
Government?
What you got from that?
Oh.
Government.
Yeah.
I'll do government.
I lost it real quick.
Ethan, what'd you get from that? You got to practice, absolutely. Sam, what'd you get?
Football practice. It's not about like winning or not. It's about what you take away. Because if you play practice, like just playing the game, it doesn't do anything. You do the same exact stuff. When you take the game, it's like, okay, I wasn't using enough turnips. I should use more turnips. You know?
Yeah.
That's definitely a problem I
Yeah.
have. Using turnips more.
Yeah, fair.
I think it's I think you're spot on. Like it's a big problem that a lot of us have. It's hard to take practice very seriously. Like if we do something in practice, a lot of times it feels like, oh, it's just like there's no stakes, there's not really pressure, there's not really anything specific that we're thinking about. We're just practicing to play a bunch of games and then get out of there, and then maybe there's no takeaway. We can't take anything for the next match we play. So I think a big thing for us to think about is like how can we make it so that we can take all of us can take something away from practice, even if it doesn't feel like a game, even if like maybe let's say we lost all our games in practice that day. That doesn't mean we need to be sad or frustrated, but it means that there's just stuff that we can take away and improve on next time, right? So on the side here, I have a few examples a few examples of showing up to practice with certain intentions in mind, and that can help us stay focused and make sure that our practices are more effective than if we just went in and played a bunch of games without wanting to focus on anything. So, for example, the first one here is this would be staying on stage. Sorry, so today I'll be focusing staying on stage in practice, so not getting knocked off as much as possible. And you compare that to something like I want to win as many matches as possible. So the first one is more specific, and it gives you a focus, something to work towards, while the other one is more results based. And that the second one, if you just lose a match, you instantly feel like you didn't get anything out of practice that day, whereas the first one is more geared towards improvements and getting better at a certain skill. Next one is the same, focus on improving my movement and spacing, and also recovery during practice. And then in your next match, maybe I want to try to learn my matchup versus a certain character and do better than last week. So it's quite similar to the goals that you guys set, being specific, being measured about how we can get better in each session. And the last thing is consistency. So I don't want you guys to go in with a practice session with the expectation that, oh, like after this hour of practice, if I play like one best of 3, I can master a skill, like I can be perfect at blocking, or I can execute this combo 100%. It takes more than one practice to be able to learn and develop a skill. And even if you do well, on that certain aspect in the practice session, you need to continue to refine and making sure that you can repeat that in the next practice in the games. So it's something that requires patience and commitment, but also you guys shouldn't put too much pressure on yourselves. Oh, I have to nail this in one practice session, and that's the only way I can take something away. That's not true. Like if you know that you need to continue to improve on something, that's also a positive takeaway from a practice session.
We had
Okay.
a couple hands up. There was a couple hands up. Michael.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Anybody tell you
Do you guys have any questions? I can't really see your hands from here. Sorry.
Gonna ask for a takeaway from the video, and I wasn't here for the entire video, but
Yeah.
it reminded me of this like one quote where it goes like, all the hard work behind the scenes, the competition's the easy part. It's like proving how practice is where stuff actually gets done. Your competition is just like the walk in the park.
Yep, if you do your due diligence in your practice sessions, it should make your games feel easier, like less pressure, because you've worked on the things you need to work on in practice.
Michael, how about you?
Arguably, practice is just not, if not more important than the game itself.
Yeah, exactly. That's a great mindset to have, because how are you going to play well during the games if you don't put in effort, if you don't work on learning new things and developing your skills in practice? You can't expect yourself to just magically learn a certain skill or play perfectly in a game, right?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Okay, moving on. The other component of practice is building what I call a process. But basically what that means is all the stuff I said about having goals, being specific, being intentional with practice. That doesn't really help us if we don't have a way to track whether or not we're getting better or the things that happen during the practice, right? So remember when I asked you guys how you felt about the last time you guys practiced, like what happened, what went well? Having a process or a way to track your improvement or things that went on in your practice sessions is going to make sure that we're able to know that we're on the right track. So I call that a process. You guys can call it like, I'm sure people can call it reviews or anything, but it's basically just a way after each practice to reflect and see if you're on the right track, see if you're making improvements, see, like, tell yourself what happened during that practice session. So things that make it an effective process to me is it's personal and not perfect. There's no one size fits all way to track our progress. Everyone's going to be different. We're all going to want to work on different skills, playing different characters, learning different matchups. So you shouldn't want to copy anyone else's process, but making sure that you have something that's suitable for you. And then the other big thing is having a learning objective. So it's basically what I mentioned earlier about setting like a mini goal or something that, like a target that you want to hit or you want to focus on. Maybe you not necessarily be able to complete it during that one practice session, but it's what you're going into it thinking about. And it's really, really important for you to write it down because, yeah, a lot of times we have things in our heads that we want to focus on and we want to do. And then while we're practicing, I mean, Smash is an intense game, right? A lot of things going on. And you might even be playing a best of 3 or playing different matchups. Like, there's a lot of other things happening, a lot of external distractions. And if we don't put our objective in writing, it's easy to forget about it while we're playing or after the games. Another thing is keeping things simple. So if we review, if after practice our reviews or what we do after practice takes too long, it would be very tedious and tiring to maintain, and this can really easily just result in us not caring about it later on down the line and just give up after like 1 or 2 practice sessions. So make sure to give yourself like a time limit, a couple minutes after each game or after each session to make some notes and think about what happened. Keep it short and sweet, and here you can also use apps, recordings, spreadsheets, any tool that you like to use, like it feels good to you. It's also accessible and you can just pull it up whenever just to make a quick note. It can be your phone, laptop, you can take a photo, whatever. And then a big note for me is after practice, like the next day, you should be able to think about a game or a set that you played from practice and recall all the major things from it just by looking at your notes from your review. So I have an example here for you guys to look at. If I pull it up, this is my process sheet. And Basically, I only give myself like less than 5 minutes. So I record all my games, and then after my practice, I have one big count. Obviously, tracking your did you win or lose, and then one main takeaway review for the game, one objective or focus, and then this is one I wanted to show you guys is probably relevant to Smash is what your perceived matchup difficulty was going into the game. So let's say you're in an easy matchup, like you're going to have a different objective than if you were playing in a very difficult matchup where it's pretty unfavored. So tracking that I think is a big part of seeing whether you're getting better at playing a difficult matchup or executing the way you're supposed to if you're going into it thinking, oh, this should be a matchup where I'm favored, I'm supposed to do well in.
Are we supposed to be able to see something right now?
Yeah, sorry, I was sharing my
We see the
screen.
building of
Yeah,
process.
I need to present something else. I'm sorry, but here we go. Yeah,
There we go.
does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't realize. But yeah, so main takeaway for the review, this will just take like a minute, like right after you finish the game, you jot something down, what happened, like, oh, I really messed up this combo, something like that, and then what your learning objective or what your focus for that session was. Let's say it's a specific combo usage, or you wanted to execute a certain combo. And then if you have like recorded your games somewhere, you can put in like a mistake with a timestamp, and then the thing I was mentioning is your matchup difficulty. So especially for Smash, if you put in, oh, I did well in a matchup that I'm not supposed to do well in, or it's a pretty difficult matchup for me, then there's that learning of, oh, I'm like executing things better, I'm not losing maybe as easily to my opponent, things like that. So it's just something quick for you to take away. This is a Google Sheet. You guys don't have to use this. Like you can write it on pen and paper or any way you want. Just as long as you find something that's easy for you to do and it doesn't feel like cumbersome. It doesn't take up a lot of time. Like one row should just be less than 5 minutes. And